Hey guys, welcome back. Alright, in this video I'll be showing you a pretty big project that I need to get done at home, and that is 40 meters of fence and retaining wall. So I'm using a concrete sleeper. They're going to be 2.4, 80mm by 200, and then it'll be a Colorbond fence sitting on top. I need to get this done before I continue on any of the other projects, as this sort of divides the two properties for my neighbours and myself. I have set out the front and rear posts, which I'll show you in a second, but now it's time to set out all the other posts and get them prepped, ready for concrete and continuing on with this fence. So anyway, stick around and let's get into it. Okay, so as you can see, I have set out to this bottom, this is the back corner post, which eventually will be heading up this way as well for the back of my property. But I have this one set, which is to the correct height, but this here is actually sitting at 200mm lower than the front post, because I do need to step this fence down. When it hits the fence, I've got to step it down a little bit, otherwise it's going to get a little bit too high once I've finished it. So now that I've got this one inside in place and I've got the front post, I can run this string line which goes all the way up to the front of the property, which will give me a nice straight line. Now it's just a matter of getting all the holes dug and getting the posts set to the correct height. Okay, now with these retaining walls, with these concrete sleepers, now depending on what you are retaining, if you have a lot of land and mass like that, now anything sort of above a metre, it does need to be slanted back on a certain degrees. You can usually search it to see what angle you need to set them back at. In my circumstance, I'm not going to be setting them, I'm going to be keeping mine plumb, because I am running them back on the back fence as well, and I'm not actually retaining much land at all. The only thing that's going to be retaining is the drainage gravel that's going to be going in here afterwards. Now my shed has its own piers along here, which is they are quite deep, so none of this is actually, the shed is actually supporting itself. So just bear in mind that whatever your circumstance is, you need to actually work out if you need to run an angle on these retaining walls. So now I'm going to go along and I'm going to start at the front, because that's where my set out starts. I'm going to start setting out all the locations of where the piers need to be. I'm hopefully going to get my hands on an excavator with a auger, where I was going to auger these down, but unfortunately I can't get that just yet. So I'm going to be just using it with a manual petrol powered auger. I'm probably going to have to drill a couple of holes and then dig out the rest. So hopefully it's not too bad. There's only a couple that go down really deep, but all the other ones are actually probably only 600. So yeah, it shouldn't be too bad. The dirt's actually quite soft as well. So anyway, let's get the set out done and we can start digging. Okay, so with this first set out, now centre to centre of the post need to be 2410. So my Colorbond fence is 2.4, but just to give it a little bit more wiggle room and a little bit more room for the sleepers, they're about 2380 each, and they've got a little bit of movement as well to get past all the bolts that actually fix the shark fin on for the Colorbond fence. So what I'll do is I'll measure off my first one, mark the centre line, and then I can mark the box around it. So you can see that I've set the first one out. I've gone 2410 to the centre here, and then I've done a 450 by 450 box around it. Now this here is the side of my steel post, which is going to the front post there, and I've gone 50mm, which will be centre. So the post is 100mm, and then centre will be the centre of pier. So anyway, now I'm just going to work all the way down the rest of the block. Okay, so you can see that I've set out all these. Now, these don't need to be super accurate just yet. As long as you're in the vicinity, you can, once you actually start setting out your posts and fixing them off, that's when they need to be really accurate. But this gives me in a ballpark of where I need to drill holes. Hopefully I miss all the old concrete where the old post used to be. I have removed a lot of it, but there's going to be a lot of digging. These ones here have to be the deepest, but then it actually gets gradual as it goes up. So the ones right up the front of the property there, I'm probably only going to go 350 by 350. I'm not actually going to make them full 450 because it's not actually going to be holding any ground or anything. All it is an actual, it's a feature to make the fence look great. Now the Colorbond fence normally just has to be 200, 600 deep. So these piers are going to be 600, 350 deep. They should be more than enough to hold this Colorbond fence. All right, time to dig holes. Now I've got this little post hole digger and I borrowed off a mate, and now I'm going to start in right over the middle here where the easiest ones are. So once I get down there, they're going to get a little bit deeper, a little bit trickier, but I'll drill out all 4 corners on this and then I can dig the rest out by hand. These ones have to be around about 600 deep. I do have the string line just to get a rough height, but that's not exactly level at the moment because it does sag, obviously, because of the distance it's running. But I can get around the ballpark, and if I do go too deep, I can just add a little bit to the bottom anyway. So anyway, let's get this started and see how it goes. Well, that's not fun at all. What I'm going to do is I'm going to put the 200 auger on it. That way I can just do one center hole, and then I can just scrape away the sides to the final dimension that I need. Because that there, it's really hard to keep 4 individual holes sort of straight. So I'll just drill the center one. Anyway, let's swap this one out and try on another hole. Right, so we have all the holes sort of pre-dug. Now, I don't know if they're to the correct depth, so I'm going to go along now with a laser. I'm going to make sure that they're down the depth, and I'm going to open them up to the correct size. The whole post hole digger did conk out of me, it did run out of fuel, and then I went to start it again and the pull start broke. So I've just ordered another one. I just got it now and I've installed it, so that is all back up and running. But let's go ahead now and set up the laser and start getting these to their depths. Okay, so we're about to set up a laser. Now I do have my rotary laser here, which is good for outdoor as well with this sensor. So what I've done, I've just got a level and an old tape measure, and I've gone from 0 down the bottom, and it sort of goes up the length of the level. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to work out my first set out post, because it does change in the height down there. But I'm going to go to the front, I'm going to set up the height to the laser, and then what I'll do is I'm going to plus probably 600, 800, that has to go down into the ground, and that way I can work out when I put the level down the hole, it'll give me the correct depth. Okay, so get my laser, I'll sit this on top of my first post here, and then we move this down till we hit the actual laser beam. Alright, so we've got the laser set up. Now this is the very finished, like the top of the post right down the front. Okay, now I have only one sleeper there, so it's going to be 200 out of the finished ground. So what I need to do is I've got my height here, and now I just need a plus 800, which will be 200 for the sleeper, and then it's going to be 600 for it to go into the ground. So I just move this up the level, and then I can stick this down the hole, and it will give me hopefully the finish height. Alright, so we're set to the correct height. Now I'll stick this down the hole, just like so, and see where we're sitting. So this one here is obviously a little bit too deep, so I can bring it up. I can put some dirt in there, or it's going to be probably a good thing because there's going to be concrete, and then you'll have a little bit of concrete under the post, which, you know, saves the post being into the dirt where it can rust out later. So anyway, this one here is looking good, and now I'll just go along and work out all the other ones. We need more on that one. That one's definitely got to go down, and I dare say all these ones have to go down as well. So what I'll do is start digging these first ones. Now this is where I wish I had the digger with an auger to the correct size, because it would have been a lot easier just doing these in one go, but now I've actually got to open them up. So I'm just going to use a post hole digger and just work away at it. Alright, so we got the first hole dug. That was not fun at all. I'm really considering just hiring the excavator, because I've still got 15 to go, and yeah, that wasn't fun. I don't like digging holes, but anyway, this one is to depth, and that will be where the post sits, like that. So that'll be level the whole way through. What I'll do is I'll brace these back, and plus I'll set them to the height, and I'm just going to pour concrete around them. I know there's a lot of ways to do this, like you can pour the concrete in the hole first, and then you can actually just poke the stick down, but considering I've got so many posts to do, it's going to be very hard to go along and actually settle the posts, get them right, without worrying about the concrete going off. So what I'll do is I'll get them all in sort of rough positions like this, fix them all off, and then you can just pour concrete without stress. Alright, so there's another one out of the way. Now this one here is a 1.2 post, so as you can see it looks like it's quite high over this string line, but as I said, all this line is to get it a straight line. With the heights I'm going to use the laser, which I'll sit on top of this and get a good reference. So realistically this will be a bit low at the moment, but if I get the laser set up and put on the post here, we should be sitting around about 300 below the laser line. Okay, so just to give you a reference, I don't know if you're going to be able to see this on camera, but I'll put this on top of the post, and you can see that, I don't know if that's showing up or not, but the laser is hitting about 320 millimeters, so that realistically has to come up about 30 mil, which is absolutely perfect. So once again, I can get all these set, and the good thing about getting all these set first and just braced across natural ground here, it should keep it relatively plumb and a lot easier to get it plumb as well. So anyway, that's another one down. We got that one in. We've got the further one. We've still got about 5-6 holes up there, which I'm not looking forward to, and then I've got to go back down the back of the property. And you wouldn't believe it, but I just broke my shovel. Don't buy fiberglass. I mean, it is pretty old, but yeah, not happy. Now I've got to go and get a new shovel. Right, so I've got these couple of posts, which is nearly halfway. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to fix this timber to the side here. This is left over from the old fence. I'm going to fix this, and that will give me a nice solid surface to fix off and brace. So I can brace the top of the post. I can also have a block screwed to this, so that'll keep the post up, you know, to the correct height. And then it's just a matter of getting it nice, true, and keeping it plumb. All right, so what I'm using is I'm using just a galvanized, well, I think it's galvanized concrete bolt. Just takes a 6mm or 6.5mm hole, and then I just screw this straight in. Alright, so I've got this post all mounted straight, plumb, and to the correct height. Now, this is the way I was going to do it, but it is a lot of work and a lot of timber, and everything just gets in the way. So I've done this option, which, you know, this is nice and solid, can't go anywhere, and I can just pour concrete around that. Obviously I've just got to cut this out a little bit more just to center the hole, but ideally this is just going to be time consuming. So the other option is what I've come up with is I've run a brace back here, I've concrete bolted it to the floor, so this here is nice and strong. This is also square to the string line that's running through here, and then this is square to this piece of timber. Now all I have to do is I can pour concrete in the hole. Then I can get my post, and I can, as long as I slide it down nice and true, straight down through here into the concrete, then you can just get the level right, and, you know, either clamp it to this as well or wedge it, but I don't think it'll sink. When I did the one down the back, it didn't actually sink down once I got to the right height, if the concrete mix is, you know, not too sloppy. But I can set that down, check it for plumb, and then move on to the next one. I think it'll be a lot quicker doing it this way than trying to brace every single one like I have down there. All right, it's the next day. I had to stop doing what I was doing yesterday. It got late, and it also started to rain. So instead of digging them by hand, I'm going to be digging them with this. I hired a machine, and now we're going to get all of this dug and all the holes drilled out as well. I'm going to set up a laser first so I can work down and get all my levels of how far I need to go down, and then we can continue on. Alright, so what I've done, I've set the laser up on this first bay. I'm going to start working my way down and get the heights I need. Here I've got 3 bays which has got 1 sleeper, so what I've done, I've found my level height and I've plussed 200, so I can just go along with the level, sit that on the laser. When it hits the level I need, we can leave it there, and I'll just keep working down. So what a big weekend that was. It is the next day. I've done all the excavation. I didn't want to film too much more because, you know, no one wants to see a full video of digging. But we have all the holes drilled. It's all relatively cleaned up. A lot of the dirt's been spread out on the neighbours lower back at lower end of his property. Plan is now I've got to go around and just get the rest of the dirt that's sort of fallen down the holes. It's just loose sitting there, so I've got to pull that up. Then I'm going to get some crusher dust and I'm going to pop it down there. I'm going to really stamp all the crusher dust down so it's got a nice solid base, just so I can sit my post on it. Now I was going to put a bit of concrete which was going to go underneath, so fully encase the post, but I'm not even going to bother. I don't mind if it's going to be touching natural ground. I mean, if it does rust out, it's going to be way past my lifetime anyway. So I'm going to go set all these holes, get them all to depth, and then we can move on and start setting these posts in position, getting ready for the concrete. Right, so this is the plan. I've got my flattening stick, just a piece of metal welded to an old crowbar, and we've got some, I don't know if you can see, some crusher dust in the hole. Stamp that down so it's nice and hard, get it to the right level, then I can just sit my column on that. I'm just going to make it a lot easier trying to get all these nice and level. So I'm just going to do that now in another 15 holes. Alright, so you can see this here is perfectly level here. I got it level just for the reason that if it's on a slight angle, then it could give me a different reading off the square when this goes down the line. So I've leveled this. This is square to the string line as well, so I can actually just pop the post down. It's at the correct height and pour concrete around it. Alright, so you can see what I've done here. I've got to call it for today because it's a little bit too windy and the string line keeps moving on me and deflecting the line. So I've done a lot of them, as you can see. So this here is nice and level, and it's also square. So this is actually dead square to the string line. Alright, so I'm back out here and now it's time to set in these posts. Now I've gone ahead and I've done all the ones, all the bracing that I can on the driveway. Down there behind me is going to be a little bit different. I'm going to have to put some stakes in the ground and level them out that way. Now I've got the first post set in, I've got my laser set up, so I've got the height perfectly. I've got it plumb both ways, so I've double checked it with the secondary level as well, just in case this cheap corner level isn't correct. And then I've clamped it to my brace. So we're right on our string line. All I have to do is just now butt it into the corner here. That'll get me in the top section right, then I just have to make sure it's plumb. Now I'm going to go along and work out all the rest. Right, so I have majority of them in place and to the correct height. As you can see, they are dead level. Not sure if you can see that on camera, and also dead straight. I do need to get some more crusher dust. I found the easiest way is to overfill the hole, pack it down a little bit, pop it in, get it nice and plumb, and then tap it down through into the crusher dust. That is probably the easiest way. I've run out unfortunately. I don't know what I did yesterday. The level must have moved on me, but I'm running a little bit short and the holes are a little bit low. But anyway, I'll finish them off tomorrow. Now down this end of the block, these ones here, obviously I don't have anything to support it, so I'm going to have to put a brace, probably brace it off my shed. Also brace it in, just put some stakes in the ground as well. These ones are quite deep. Now I am in a sort of I get a lot of groundwater here. This hole here is probably the last one where you can just see a little bit of water in it. But if you come down here, we have a fair bit of water that we're going to have to pump out. And this one here is probably the worst. So there is a good 500 mil of water that's in there, plus a cane toad, which he's going to be in there now. I'm not getting him out. But anyway, I'll have to pump this out before we put the concrete in and set these posts. So I'm probably going to have to put like a piece of timber across this hole here to stop and clamp it to stop it falling down, because I really don't, I don't think that I'm going to get this one to stay like solid ground, because it is actually quite muddy down there and clayey, and it'll just keep sinking down. So anyway, till tomorrow. Hey guys, welcome back. All right, it is early morning. It's about 9 degrees. It's pretty cold, and we're about to start mixing concrete. I've hired them out to mix up because it works out a lot cheaper than to actually get concrete delivered. I've gone ahead and I've set out all my posts. As you can see, probably in the background, I've still got 2 more down the back of the property, but I'll explain why I haven't put those in just yet. Anyway, we're going to go and start mixing up. I'm going to double check now all the heights and make sure that nothing is settled, because I did get a lot of rain the other night and I just want to make sure nothing's moved. So anyway, I'll do that first, and then we'll get to mixing. Alright, so I'm about halfway done. Now what I'm going to do is that I've got the line which is set down here for 200 mil below this. I'm just going to trowel around it and get that perfect while this is before this actually sets. So what I'll do is I'll do these first couple and then I'll continue on mixing concrete. Alright, so all these ones here are set. Well, not set, but I mean they're at the right height for the sleepers to go in. Now up here, so in this bay here I have 2 sleepers, and then it transitions to 1. So what I'm going to do is down the back of the property, there's 5 sleepers that I need to cut to length in between, because it's not exactly right. So the off cut of that is going to sit in here, which will support the next layer above into the transition to 1 sleeper, and so forth. And when I get down to 2 to 3, it'll be the same process. Alright, so we've only got 2 more holes to do. Now I did run out of concrete blends, so I just quickly had to run up and get some more. So hopefully I'll have enough now to finish these. Now I don't have these ones all set up like I do with the other ones, so these ones are probably a little bit trickier. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go off this string line. I'm going to run one across the top of these 2 posts because they're at the correct height, and then also I'll run one down lower so I can drop them in at the correct and just move it, make sure the center's right, and then yeah, make sure it's all plumb. So anyway, before I do that though, I've got to pump this out. So as you can see, there's a lot of water in there, and same with down here. Now that is groundwater, so what I did is I pumped it out the other day, and it did take a little bit for it to come back, so it should be enough to get some concrete in there and disperse it and stop it penetrating the hole. Alright guys, that is it. All of them are concreted. The camera died obviously when I was doing the last one, so unfortunately I couldn't film that, but he's just down there. They're all setting. I might just have to add a little bit of concrete when I put that sleeper in, just to get it to height. They're a little bit tricky, those ones, but anyway, they're all in position. Now just have to wait for them to dry. Alright, good morning. It's the next day and all the concrete is set. So next job is to go along and screw off all the, mate, try and do a video here, to screw off all the shark fins on top of the retaining wall posts, and that way it allows me to touch the Colorbond fence, and I'll show you what that is. Alright, so this is the shark fin that I was telling you about. So this is what attaches the Colorbond fence attaches to this. Now the post will slide down around this, and then I'm probably going to bolt these. I'm not going to text screw it because I don't want it to come loose. But anyway, these two are in because the bottom bolt is actually under the concrete. So I had to actually put this one on first before I poured the concrete, because I wouldn't have been able to get it on later. Now I've got to just go along and attach all these to the rest of the posts. Alright, back out here this morning. Now it did rain quite a lot last night, but everything is still intact and all good. But let me just show you, I have a couple of sleepers in. So this one here is set in position. This one here, I've just cut one of the sleepers, so I'm going to sit like just the off cut in there, which is going to be the other part's just going to go down the back, and then I can lay a full one over top, and then I have the two front ones. Looking absolutely mint. So now I just got to keep working my way down, moving a bit of dirt so they sit down properly. They are very heavy. I know I'm going to regret this tomorrow, but they're 80 kilos each. Pretty heavy to lift on my own. It's more awkward as well, but I don't know, I just want to get them in. Alright guys, that's it. The retaining wall is finally done. I'm glad that part's over. Most of all the heavy stuff is out of the way now, which is good. I reckon it looks absolutely fantastic. That is going to last about a good 60 years. I still need to do the Colorbond fence, but that'll be the next video that I'm going to be doing. And I still need to sort of backfill all the rest of this as well with you know, geofabric and some ag pipe just to get rid of the water so dirt doesn't come down between it. Anyway, I know there's probably multiple ways you can build these walls. The way I did it sort of worked for me. Just setting them all out, getting in position, ready for the concrete to go in. A little bit left, not as stressful doing it that way. I know everything's plumbed then. Anyway, still have the Colorbond fence, as I said, on top, and that'll be the next video. So stay tuned for that, where I'm going to explain how I'm going to be building this Colorbond fence and it'll finish this project. It's been a massive job and I can't wait to sort of get it out of the way and can't wait to see what it looks like. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, hit that like, hit that subscribe, and we'll see you in the next video.